Welcome to Talk Sport with Basil John.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Talk Sports with me, Basil John. Today we'll be talking about the game between Everton and Chelsea that happened at Goodison Park. It was a very, very interesting one, and definitely there are a whole lot of talking points for that particular game. Everton versus Chelsea at the Goodison Park. It ended 2-0 in favor of the home side, and definitely I will start the analysis this way. Let's start with the goalkeeper, Kepa Arrizabalaga. Kepa good, had a solid first half. He was really good, didn't have much work to do in the first half, as Everton didn't actually have a whole lot to do testing him going forward. But the second half, he had absolutely nothing to do about the first goal, so I will not blame him entirely about the first goal. And the second goal from the penalty spot, he had a great effort trying to save that penalty. He made a great the first save, but the rebound, he actually couldn't do anything about it. So, not really a bad performance from Kepa Arrizabalaga. His defense actually didn't really cover him in the second half. Over to the defenders, starting from David Luiz. Very bad, poor performance from David Luiz today. That was a very, very poor performance from David Luiz. I was beginning to think, what's really happening? Why is David Luiz playing this way? I think the only positive side of David Luiz in that game was his one-time passes, his ability to pick up Pedro, his ability to pick up Hazard, his ability to pick up maybe Gonzalo Higuain, but he was so poor defending. The second half was really bad. He was almost not in the game. Antonio Rudiger had a yellow card. He almost escaped. He escaped actually picking up a red card in that game, and that was a sad one for Rudiger. He was not giving his A game, and that was a very bad one for Antonio Rudiger. I was really think, what is it with Rudiger again? And a whole lot of questions why Chelsea's best defender at the moment is definitely sitting on the bench, having just 3 Premier League starts. That's a bad one for him. Marcos Alonso, bad one. That was total disaster class from Marcos Alonso. He was so poor defensively. In the first half, he actually tried to give an almost near solid performance, but the second half, he was in total shambles. He actually gave a disaster class, and I'm beginning to ask a question. Why did Maurizio Sarri start Marcos Alonso again today? That was so poor of him, and he almost got a red card. And I think a whole lot of Chelsea fans would have even been happy to see Marcos Alonso get a red card. That is to show how bad he was in that particular game at Goodison Park. Alonso was a total disaster class. Personally, I want to put it that way, disaster class from Marcos Alonso, and that was really sad for him. And he was really lucky not to get a record in that particular game. He was so careless with that tackle in the 18-yard box when Chelsea considered that particular penalty. And I would personally blame Marcos Alonso for the 2 goals. Why? The build up to the first goal, I think Marcos Alonso was at fault before David Luiz failed to give Richarlison that back. He left it on Matt. So Marcos Alonso was dispossessed in the build up to that particular goal. The second goal also, Marcos Alonso was the man that found the Everton player in the box, and that was so sad, so bad of Alonso. Now on the right back, Cesar Azpilicueta, definitely Chelsea need to start looking for a better replacement for Cesar Azpilicueta, because undoubtedly Azpilicueta has actually outlived his welcome. I think he really needs to be replaced. David Zappacosta, is it a better replacement? No, Zappacosta at the moment is a struggling right back, and it is not a full defending right back. I think he's better as a wing back. For Azpilicueta, I think definitely he needs to be replaced. He was really unimpressive. He couldn't get any crosses in the box. He was so poor going forward, and that was a bad one for him. The midfield, Ross Barkley, good one. He actually had a good performance, good first half, and he's really giving good fight for the LCM position. Well, it was sad for him going back to where he started his own career, his boyhood club, and his welcome was a very bad one, but he actually channeled that into a positive energy and gave a good performance. He should have scored, he should have got an assist, but sad one, he just couldn't get any of those. But well, undoubtedly he gave a very good performance. Now, Jorginho, good one from Jorginho. Personally, I think Jorginho has been improving in the past 5 games he's played for Chelsea. I think after the final in the Carabao Cup, Jorginho has really been impressive. He's been on the rise. So I know a whole lot of Chelsea fans do not really like him. I actually didn't like him better either, especially when he was giving all those disaster class performances. But I think as it stands now, Jorginho is really, really improving. But in the second half, he was almost not in the game. Almost not in the game, and that was bad for Jorginho. Now let's talk about N'Golo Kante. Well, this is not one of those days I was saying N'Golo Kante was being N'Golo Kante today. N'Golo Kante wasn't good. Yeah, you heard that from me. N'Golo Kante wasn't good. N'Golo Kante was giving almost a not so solid performance today. He actually had no impact in the game, especially in the second half, until when Chelsea moved into a 4-2-3-1 formation. That was when he was a little bit effective, but in the first half, second half, he almost had no impact in that particular game. But you know what I mean? N'Golo Kante was having a bad game. N'Golo Kante's bad game is better than Alonso's best game in that particular game. Yeah, of course, you heard it from me. Now let's go forward. Eden Hazard. Well, undoubtedly, Eden Hazard had a good match in the first half. He was actually doing some good works in the final third. He should have scored in the first half, but he actually hit the post, and that was really unlucky for him not to score. But in the second half, he was almost not in the game again, and that was sad for him. And I think he needs to release the ball sooner. I think that is the trait, that is the character that Eden Hazard and William actually show. That is not really impressive. And for this Sarri ball, for the Sarri kind of football, it's not really working. They hang on to the ball too much, and it is not really helping the course of the game. So if Eden Hazard releases the ball more, I think that will actually give the team a better one. And I noticed something. When Eden Hazard goes up with the ball, the players are actually admiring him, clapping for him. Yeah, boy, nice dribble. But that is a really sad one. No player to go up front and assist him to get a 1-2 pass. Maybe the players know that he's not going to give the pass. Maybe the players know he's going to try dribble, and he has been fouled and fouled and fouled. If you watch the first half of the game, you'll see when Eden Hazard is with the ball, 3 to 4 Everton defenders will come up to him, and definitely he will be fouled. But it's a good one. He gets fouled and gives Chelsea the advantage of a free kick, and by that time the players will come forward. Chelsea should have scored in the first half, but they didn't score. Pedro. While Pedro is starting, I don't know. Definitely. Pedro comes this game, gives a good performance, and his bad performances are forgotten. Why he even started this game is what I don't know, because when he started against Wolves, he didn't give a good performance, and this is exactly the same thing that happened when Chelsea took on Wolves at the Bridge. Today was at the Goodison Park, and what happened? A really sad and bad performance. He should have scored. He had some moments of magic, but that didn't really make his performance above par. He gave a below level performance. Trying going forward in the box, he wasn't really himself. It was as if when he went into the box, he lost ideas. So why Pedro starts over Callum Hudson-Odoi is what I'm still wondering. Oh yeah, I get it. Hudson-Odoi is just 18 years of age, so Pedro needs to start. And get it from me, Pedro is over 30 years of and get it from me, Pedro is over 30 years of age. So I think let's do the math. Let's do the math right here. We need to know who needs to start. Now for Gonzalo Higuain, well, so unlucky for him not to have scored in the first half. He was actually making good movement. But one thing about Gonzalo Higuain, he needs to better his movement in the 18-yard box. He has good movements, but his movements need to improve, because the way it's going, he has gone a whole lot of games not scoring. He was paid to score, not paid to play a good football. He needs to score. He needs to score, and scoring will help his confidence. Now over to Maurizio Sarri. Now let's start with why Maurizio Sarri had to start Alonso. Okay, better. Alonso gave a good performance against Dynamo Kyiv on Thursday. Yes, and also did Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He gave a good performance against Dynamo Kyiv on Thursday. Why is he not starting? He decided not to start Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Well, not the back problem. So give me the back problem crap, because definitely it is not the back problem. Robin Loftus-Cheek had a good game on Thursday against Dynamo Kyiv. He deserved to start. Hudson-Odoi had a good game on Thursday. He deserved to start. So you cannot tell me you started Marcus Alonso because he had a good game on Thursday. So what are the basis of resting or benching Robin Loftus-Cheek and Hudson-Odoi and then bringing them on when Chelsea were 2 goals down? That was really, really bad of you. So if I want to blame the players, I blame the players, I blame the manager, because definitely the manager needs to have a twist of formation too. Now take a look at this. Chelsea changed to a 4-2-3-1 formation against Wolves during the English Premier League game that happened with the previous week at Stamford Bridge. And what happened, Chelsea were really, really pressing very well, and they got a goal. The same thing happened here when Chelsea changed to a 4-2-3-1 after Jorginho was subbed out for Callum Hudson-Odoi. They changed to a 4-2-3-1 formation. Definitely, they were really, really pressing and almost got a goal. And I was beginning to wonder if Chelsea cannot get a goal with Everton playing without Kurtzuma. What would have happened if Everton were playing with Kurtzuma? You see? Big question. So definitely a whole lot needs to change. Mauricio Sarri needs to have a twister formation. He needs to have a twister formation. 4-2-3-1 formation is definitely a better one. I think Chelsea are beginning to adapt to that formation too. But if he wants to stick to the 4-3-3 formation, not bad for him. But definitely we will keep seeing disaster classes like this, and that will spell good for the English Premier League giant side, Chelsea. As it stands now, Chelsea's hope of the top 4 is gradually diminishing, but it is not yet over. Until it's over, Chelsea's 3 points adrift of the 4th place Arsenal, and that is a big one for Chelsea. Let's get to see what will happen if Chelsea can win their next game when they take on Cardiff. And with that, I come to the end of this edition of Talk Sports with me, Basil John. Do well to subscribe to this channel and do well to like this video. I am Basil John. Have a nice day.